This is it. This is so cool. This is week 35 of randomly generating quilt blocks with our cool dice and color wheel spinner. We've got one last one to do. Are you ready? Let's get started. And welcome back to So Well with Rob Appell, Friday afternoon Scrap Masters. So amazing to see all of you out there. Well, not amazing. I know you would be here because you're here every week, and I'm so blessed about that. If it is Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, please join us over on the chat and have some fun with us. Welcome to our community. It is great to have you. Week 35, theme of the week is completion, because we do have one last block to go on our Scrap Masters Series 2. 35 weeks. It's been super great. And of course, then I integrated Neon Nights, which is a blend of Scrap Masters 1 and 2. I'm getting ready to work, release, let you all know what's going to happen for Scrap Masters 3. Of course, you can see we've gotten some ridiculous shirts going. And I'm just super excited and super blessed that this program has taken off. If you're new here, what we're doing is we are using dice, free patterns, link in the description below. We have 6 blocks and a color wheel spinner, and they're going to guide us along our path per making a block today, like we've done the last 34 weeks. I have a bunch of my fabrics cut, mostly what I call basics or blenders, micro prints, tonals, textures, and my new, I should call these the groundworks. These are my low volume neutrals from Benartex Fabrics. And like I said, a lot of other wonderful things in my tray of treasure. You can see all the other blocks here I've created, and I cannot wait to hit that design floor. I only have about half the blocks or less up on the wall. And this morning I started with the orange and just started to blend. I'll get some good photos before I take this down. I think I'm going to use this as a starting place as I work in the other blocks. You can see which way we're pushing color-wise. We'll take a moment and clean these up while like I said, I welcome everybody out there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Don't forget, we have been pushing and promoting all of our wonderful New Year's Day mystery quilt. So along, Tiffany Hayes and myself will be doing that for free right here on this YouTube channel. Nothing to register or sign up for. We have the updated, tested fabric cut supply list, as well as clue number 1 at robappell.com. Enjoy those. Kits will ship about November 1st. You have plenty of time to do all the work. Remember, we have the event on January 1st. Tiffany Hayes and myself are super blessed to have you joining us for that. I'll talk all day, you know me, but I want to figure out what we're going to work on for this last block. Super exciting. So here we go. I need to get my container, keep myself a little bit under control. 6-sided die. Which pattern block will we do today? Block 6. Here we go. Was it there at one point in this series that block 6 was my nemesis? We will see if we have conquered that today. I don't know. I like it. It's a crazy checkerboard hourglass star, and there's so many things we can do, especially because we're learning to discuss these pattern pages as color families. Let's talk about them as a white family, gray family, black family, not so much in tones or variation of color that way. Anyways, let's get into our color wheel. What are we going to use? What is going to be our theme color for the day? Yellow. All right, mellow yellow. I like that. And with that said, 20-sided die. This tells us how many different fabrics we get to use. That's so fun. And I like a medium number myself. I'm not sure. What do you all like? Put it in the comments below. Here we go. The final drop, the final roll of the 20-sider. Oh, and it looks like a 9. And I like that. Little less than medium, medium small. You know, it's a medium small. You know, Kev. Sorry, that's not very nice. Okay, here we go. So I'm picking my yellow as one of my 9 different fabrics, okay? And then because of that, and traditionally in all of these blocks I have made, I've basically used whatever low volume neutral in my white fabric space. There's not a lot of those today, so I think I'll go ahead and let that be. That means I get 4 choices per gray family if I want, and 4 choices of fabric for that black family. I really like it when that star pops. So maybe I want, and there's not a lot of gray in there. So maybe I want to do like 5 and 3. Let's look at what happens with our color wheel. If I go ahead and lock down my theme color on this yellow, and of course I'm not really using yellow, so I'm going to immediately shift to my yellow orange. What does that give us? And you know my triad I love so much, my red violet with my blue green, which I'll probably go towards you know me. I can also push a little bit, skinny out that triangle. It's not as strong, it's not as powerful, but it is a very nice blend. And that would give me my violet and my blue. So let me see, as I go through my golden tray of treasure here, what do I really want to work with today? And yeah, I am pretty much a sucker for these red violets. And so then I could use those with my wonderful blue greens. And again, I don't need many of them, and I only have 9 fabrics to really choose from anyways. So let's call that fabric number 2 today. 3 and 4, we'll let those read as the medium, or excuse me, I do this and I know what, no wonder you're all confused. Let this read as the gray in the pattern for the family at the moment. So that gives me 4. Now I have a total of 5 more I can pull over here. So here's 1, 2, 3. These start to get into that bluer. I'm still okay with this. And do I need squares? Yes, because these are already 2.5 inches, which limits my use for them, right? So what did I say? I get 5 here. I love it. This is going to be a really fun combination to put together. So then the next thing we want to do is we want to figure out how many of our different half square triangles we're going to need. And the easiest ones for me to see are going to be purple today will be the black color. So my black and my whites, I'm going to need 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These are 3-inch squares. I'm going to get 2 each, so I need 7 of these. Those ones are pre-cut down to 2.5, so I'll need those as well, I think. Yep. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and match out 7 of my white family with my black family to make those half square triangles I need. To get variety, I'm just going to use a little bit of everything across the board here. You may remember from another week, I had these off-sized, and that's okay because I'm just going across the diagonal. So even the ones that are scrap, a little bit larger, I didn't catch when I was trimming down, will not be a problem. Okay, so those choices are now made. I'm going to set aside these because I'll need them for a little bit later. Now I want to figure out how many of the white gray half square triangles I need. And I see 1, 2, there's 2 more in the center, which makes 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so then that means I technically need 3 more of my low volume neutrals that I'm using, my white fabric. And that'll be great because I'll just grab 1 of each of these, pair it up from my gray family today. These become half square triangles. I like to make all of the units in advance so then I can mix and match them here before I stitch them together. That gives me the most random, scrappy look with the best color integration or best color blends. So let's go ahead and figure out how many squares we need before we get too far ahead of ourselves. And we don't have any of the black gray combos in this pattern. So here we go with our squares of our white family. We need 1 and 2, 3, 4. So that'll be 8. I have 2 made here, so I'll count out 6 more of these. I stack them based on that corner there. Take a ruler that allows me to get a 2.5 cut. Cut these down nice. And then discard the rest into your bed for making, your bag for making dog beds, because you're getting rid of this stuff. Remember, folks, it was scraps. Okay, so those are my white fabric family. Now let's do our gray fabric family. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 only. And for that here, I'll use 4 here. For the black, 1, 2, 3, 4 is all I see in there. So I did have a couple of these that were already pre-trimmed also, but for variety, I'm going to go ahead and cut down. Oh, wonderful. There's 2 more. So that's what I needed there. We'll cut these down. And that should be everything we need to account for today. Now, let's get on to those half square triangles. As I mentioned earlier, the best way to get 2 triangles out of a series of 3-inch squares here is going to be, go ahead and create a diagonal line. Now, there's a couple of different approaches. This diagonal line is physically a visual guideline. We're going to stitch 1/4 inch on either side. So some of you like to use, I think it's called like a quilter's gypsy tool or something, magic wand, that you draw it and it just gives you those sew-in lines. I actually just eyeball it because I like to use my seam tape that's already been pre-stuck and calibrated to my machine. So I just wanted to point out that even with this large, little bit extra scrap fabric, this will work as will the rest. So whether you've got the drawn line or eyeballing, you're just going to do it now a stitch line 1/4 inch on one side of all of these to be. Because I want our scrap sewing to be fast and efficient, smooth, easy, fun, so we don't overthink it, I'm learning to do more and more chain piecing integrations for all of this. So I'm not going to cut these apart. I'm just going to swing them all around and continue sewing. And I like this because now I can use the thread as a visual as well for helping stay nice and parallel to what would be my imaginary straight line. Maybe it's your drawn straight line. And you can see how we can catch up here even with that sloppy, scrappy PC. Now, I have always used my thread cutter up here, but I was speaking to Jamie Mueller recently from Quilt Inc. and I realized that we had handled each other's tools in the past. We traded tools in the past. So she gave me a cutter and I gave her a cutter. And so also I thought I'd give that a little try today. And it's kind of nice because what I'm doing is I'm just now pulling my threads tight, both of them. And there's a little blade in there. So this comes from sunflowerquilts.com. I believe you can get them online. I should have checked before I did it. I've had it for so long and that was kind of fun. When Jamie and I were doing an interview recently, she's like, oh no, remember when we traded cutters? And well, you know, I get overwhelmed, folks. I forget all of the wonderful people I get to meet at the shows. And so I did. I was really embarrassed that I had not remembered meeting her and exchanging tools, but I've used it and I love it. And anyway, so here we go. I'm going to use my slotted trimmer, speaking of tools, and I'm going to use just the straight edge right now to separate these out, okay, whether it's on that diagonal or the imaginary. And while I start doing this, folks, and prepping these, I like to separate them all, and then I'm going to trim them all to 2.5 and tidy them up so they're ready to go in the same size as my squares. Let's get that iron hot. I'm going to need that as well, but you know me. As a blessed individual, I would like to share each and every week why I feel so fortunate, why I feel so grateful. And I do believe that it's one of those things, sew well is not about sewing well, it's about trying to sew for mental health and wellness. And so many of you caught last week's show where I really took most of my week and enjoyed hanging out with my great friend, the Birdman, I call him Kevin, named after my quilt pattern. I think his parents did. And I think that was really nice of them. And so anyways, he literally just came out to spend some buddy time. We worked on his incredible quilt-based tattoo. It was super fun to do what I'm calling the geo Celtic Polynesian style, black and gray only, has a lot of different styles of geometry in it, quilt based, Polynesian based, Celtic based. So anyways, it's super fun to do that. And I feel super great. But at any rate, so yeah, he was part of that, and he isn't even part of the Grateful List. Here, once again, I've done that. Number one, but Kevin was part of this. Number one on the Grateful List this week for me is the new puppy. He mentioned it. It's incredible. He's incredible. Buckley is his name. Yes, my daughter, Ruby, who you've all met in the past, has gotten herself her own apartment where she'll be living by herself. So she convinced me she needed a big, strong dog to keep her safe. So she has a 6.5 pounder. It's the afternoon with the puppy time. You are so adorable. And he is what we believe to be like a Chihuahua, Dachshund, Terrier, Pug mix, and he is beautifully brindled and has the biggest personality. He is good at snuggling, he is good at fetch, and he is good at sleeping by himself in his crate. So as a grand dog daddy, I am super happy, and I want to think my nickname is going to be called Gramp Doggy Dog from here on out. So if you'll just work with me on this one, folks, I'd appreciate that. Now, let's talk about this. We'll use our same sloppy triangle. I'm going to put the slotted trimmer where my 2.5-inch mark is on the thread, basically just slightly over the thread. And now my eye has to make sure I'm cutting down a true triangle with all the fabric. So you'll notice now I'm just going to cut here and here. And then I've got the habit of dog earing these manually. It's just easier than putting, for me, my ruler in the slots. I blame it on the glasses, shaky hands, whatever it be, moving fast. But yes, I like to do that there as I prep. So now I'm going to cut these down as we share a few of those photos of Buckley and Ruby and all the fun we're having. Of course, Braden and Catherine, the newlyweds, have a dog named Louise. She is a beautiful golden blend, and she's got the sweetest personality. However, she does identify as a cat. Roughly 60 pounds, and we will find her in the most unique small spaces, including yesterday squeezing out of the fence and giving us all a good game of chase. And she almost won. So at any rate, that was fun, and we do love having our dogs in our family, and they are so super special. So for all of you out there, dog owners, don't forget to be grateful each and every day for those beautiful pets, dogs, cats, whatever we have out there. Let us know what pets you have. I would love to hear who you have joining you in your sewing room daily, if that is something you like to do. At any rate, number two on the Grateful List are these wonderful new opportunities. So yes, I'm still expanding my career as a tattoo artist. I've been working in a private studio with my dear friend and mentor of 30 years, Ed Molina, and Ed Molina has gone bi-coastal, folks. So here it is, folks, the Molina studio. Yeah, Eddie Molina, aka Lefty Bastard. Sorry, ladies, it is a tattoo shop. Has this wonderful setup here in Morro Bay, but he also works out of Ithaca, New York. And therefore, for the summer, I get to babysit this incredible spot. That's right. So he is opening up his opportunities also on the East Coast. He'll be working out of a private studio in Ithaca. And so I'll be maintaining our California studio here, which really means that I am taking over and doing more of what I want to do, which is really just utilizing my time and getting some more tattooing space, because now I can make appointments more effectively, because like I said, we're sharing this beautiful space, but it's really a private space. And we like to do our tattoos because we believe our tattoos are not only amazing lifelong pieces of art, but they're an experience. And a lot of that comes from the right music, the right tone, the right setting. And so a lot of times we like to work with just our client or whoever our client chooses to bring with us. So anyways, if you would like to get a tattoo from me, you can let me know. rob@robappell.com. Is my email address. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. I'll have a link here today if you're interested. And I'd also like to let you all know that I have decided to come on up and enjoy the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. This will be the second weekend in July, because the first weekend in July, I believe, is the 4th of July, and we just don't do that. So yes, I'm going to head up to Sisters to enjoy the show, which I believe is the 11th of July. But I think I'm going to be there the 8th, 9th, 10th, doing some tattooing, possibly, or excuse me, I should say the 9th, 10th, 11th, doing some tattooing. So I'm really excited about that. If you would be interested, I'm only going to have a little bit of time, enough time for maybe 2 or 3 decent tattoos. So if you're a quilter or a quilt instructor and you are catching this video, let me know ASAP, rob@robappell.com, and we will book an awesome tattoo for you. New opportunities, number 2 on the grateful list. Bringing us to number 3 on the grateful list. And yeah, I like to focus kind of about the grateful list while I'm talking and preparing. And I don't know quite how to say all of this, but it is all of you. Really, it is the Scrap Masters community that accidentally happened roughly a year ago and has been a blessing for me for so many reasons. I believe it's helped me have good content on the weekly to do, which helps our YouTube channel grow. Make sure you're subscribed. It has also given me a wonderful workshop to teach and some really fun ways of slowing down quilt making, not trying to make a quilt a week, but just a block a week. But I've learned so much about the color and the way to work things together. I'm really enjoying building the patterns. I'm really enjoying teaching the patterns. I love the randomness of it. I am so looking forward to building all of these 35 blocks into a beautiful quilt and sharing that with you. I also want to do a couple of other videos, tutorials based on how to assemble quilts, and we'll use these blocks for that kind of work. So you'll be looking forward to a lot of new tutorials, a lot of new education coming here at So Well with Rob Appell, but that's because of all you scrap masters out there. So I'm going to manipulate the patterns so they're easier to download one more time. And we will make it, I think, super fun going into the future. So if you have been a Scrap Master fan from the first 2 series, thank you for sticking with me. And we're going to just keep pushing and going. And what I'd like to know now is I want to do a constant theme background for us in what I'll call series 3. Don't need black, got that done. Don't really need the low volume neutrals. That reads super scrappy. I'm thinking about white for next time or something a little different. I'm not sure. Do any of you out there have ideas you'd like to see me do with what is coming up in Scrap Masters Series 3? I know what I'm doing for the patterns, but which fabric? Should we do something completely different? I don't know. I do know I am about ready to restock my scrap bin pretty soon. Okay, now that we have them all trimmed down and we've discussed our grateful list, let's get back to work on this quilt block. What I'm going to need to do next is press all of these half square triangles over to the darker of the fabrics, which is easy today because they're all paired up with my white color family. Okay, coming off the iron, I've got all my parts and pieces now stacked kind of per color, so I can hopefully stay somewhat organized today as I begin building this. For this block, I don't use these bottom cubes as a diagram at all. I'm going to build all the pieces right here in front of me, and I do like to start with my center kind of hourglass block. So for that I need, and I always like to use difference if possible, I'm going to have the 2 different gray families facing in towards each other, and then 2 different here from my dark family, black family pointing out. If I can get off to that head start, I'm going to be okay, right? So there, from there, off of this corner, I need 2 from the black family. And I'll also need 2 from the black family off of this upper gray corner. In those outer spaces here, I'll have something different from the gray family, just to kind of help my placeholders there. And now we're going to go ahead and start to use our black family to build out our star points, so to speak. Trying to have different fabrics in each location. So starting up here in what would be kind of the top of the star, let's see if I can use a print against that solid. We can always make rotations later. So we should be able to see now the way that the black family forms a scrappy. One of the things I'm double checking is the way the white families point at each other. White tips, arrows on all four outer edges. And then over here, these spaces now become fairly simple. They'll start by filling in with the squares from your white family. And then at the end, we're going to have the white family actually pointing in with your gray family half square triangle pointing out. Again, mixing up the different fabrics. And that there is our design. Okay. Now from here, I've already secured my edge guide for my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to begin doing what I learned halfway through this series, which is now called webbing, I believe. It's a chain piecing where we don't cut apart our chains. So starting at the top of the column, I'm going to pair these up and I'm going to do this whole column chain piece style, and then I'll start adding on the next column. Watch this. Just working my way down 2 squares at a time, the columns. Once I get the whole series of the first 2 columns, now I'm just going to lift my foot, slide my work down, and then as I open these up, I'm going to grab the top of the 3rd column and start sewing without separating any of the first work. Open up, grab your next piece, match it down, and then we're going to secure it with needle and thread. Continue this process by sliding your work down and adding on column after column, piece after piece, until you get all of it done. I'll show you what's next. Once all those pieces are stitched together, do take the time to lay it out, open it all up, and make sure that the design is still correct. You haven't put anything in a rotated fashion. So I'm checking my corners, I'm checking my star, all of that. Now I'm going to simply go ahead and lay over and start to sew these together. And I'm going to use my fingers to nest each row as I go, or each union as I go. And I'll just do the same. So right now I've got my seam facing up here. So I'll do my best to get this next seam facing up. And that'll just help keep everything consistent throughout the rest of the piecing of this block. I love this method. Come on out, realign, re-nest with your fingers, and now you'll be looking at your seams in the opposite directions. Get off to a good start. And now all my top seams will be facing towards me. After I've done the first 1, 2, 3 seams, I'm flipping it over to kind of keep the work from getting caught up accidentally. And I'm just going to continue on that same method, checking which way I need to nest my seams. All right, let's hit this with a little bit of moisture and the iron. See how it looks. I do encourage it with a little bit of steam at this point because I didn't use any pressing at all in the in-between of the sewing. So I'm going to let this just lay nice and flat, block itself out for a moment. And while that's happening, I do want to say thank you all again for being here each and every week. Or if you're new to the club, thank you for considering being a scrap master. Don't forget, we do have a Facebook group that I'd love for you to go ahead and join. Please answer the 3 questions that you need to get through me, the gatekeeper. And we're also going to use that Facebook group for a while as our hub for the New Year's Day sew along. I think that makes the best sense to have one group where all of the events that I participate in are kind of around and centered. Not sure. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments below. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate seeing you. I appreciate the support. Here is our incredible block 6. So week 35, block 6, color yellow, 9 fabrics, and now we make the quilt. Thanks for being here, folks. I will see you very soon with the update on how this bad boy finishes out. Please make sure you're doing something amazingly creative with your hands. Until I see you again, stay well.